Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Peace River Town Council meeting, which I'm calling to order on May 26th at 5 p.m. So we've got the agenda in front of us. Are there any additions or deletions?
There's none, your worship, thank you.
Okay, someone care to move on that aspect? Council, good?
I'll move the council adopt the agenda of the May 26, 2025 regular council meeting is presented.
Thank you. All those in favor? It is carried. Then we have the minutes of the May 12th regular council meeting. Everybody's had a chance to read them. Are there any edits that somebody would suggest? Councilor Ford?
Thank you. I put a motion on the floor that council adopt the minutes of the May 12, 2025 regular council meeting as presented.
Thank you. All those in favor of that motion? Great, it is carried. We do not have any public hearings. However, we have presentation. So the Ken Sargent House, and if you just want to come forward and press the button so that the mic turns red, and that means it's live. And if you just want to introduce yourself, then we've got a presentation in our agenda packages, so.
All right, can you hear me okay? Okay, good evening. My name is Dale Bond and I am with the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital Foundation as the director for the Ken Sargent House. Okay, I can just go ahead? Yes, perfect. I'm pretty confident that everyone in this room has likely either been ill, had someone who is ill, has accessed medical care, and maybe even had to travel outside of Peace River for that medical care. The stress and anxiety that people face when they have to leave their home community and their support systems is really quite unimaginable. Now imagine in the midst of that journey, if they find not just a place to stay, but a true home, a place where they can rest, relax, recharge, and care for their loved ones. Our mission at the Ken Sargent House is to care for patients and their families who are accessing healthcare in our region, more specifically in Grand Prairie. So a little bit about the history of the Ken Sargent House project. It has been a long time in the making. About 10 years ago, the Rotary Clubs of Grand Prairie had a vision, and their vision was to build a supportive accommodation for anyone traveling to Grand Prairie to access medical care. It could be for the patient or it could be for their support system, just all depending on what the situation is. In 2023, the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital Foundation signed on to be the operating partner for that project, as well as any remaining fundraising for the project. And in 2024, Northwestern Polytechnic donated a 1-acre lot just near the hospital in Grand Prairie for this house to be built. So I'm proud to say we are officially going in the ground this week. So we will be having our sod turning event on Thursday. So it is moving forward. So where did the name come from? Some of you may have heard the name Ken Sargent. He is a local to Grand Prairie philanthropist, businessman, entrepreneur, and in 2023, he gifted $2 million to be endowed to support future operations for the Ken Sargent House. And in light of his generosity, we have decided to name the project after him. So what are we going to see in the Ken Sargent House? Well, basically, if it's in your house, it's going to be in the Ken Sargent House, maybe just a bit of a larger footprint. Just over 16,000 square feet of living space. We will have 21 private suites. 10 of those will have 2 beds. 9 of them will have 1 bed, and then 2 will be fully accessible. We're going to have common living areas, dining areas. There'll be a kitchen, a community kitchen where people can cook their own meals. Everybody will have a spot for pantry items. There'll be laundry facilities that everybody can access, a fitness area, a quiet room or a library, as well as a kids play area and outdoor space. And all of this is going to be walking distance to the hospital. Our plan is to charge around $20 a night. We're still just working on our operating right now. We are basing it after a model in Kelowna called Joanna's House. So our plan will be to kind of mimic that a little bit. So what is the need? Grand Prairie Regional Hospital is the nearest advanced medical facility for just under 500,000 people, for about 479,000. And we are the trauma and cancer center of the North. And within the hospital, we can accept babies 32 weeks and above. So we have our neonatal intensive care unit. We have 11 operating theaters, and one of those is specific to maternity. We have, we deal with a lot of trauma. So any trauma from the North does have to stop in Grand Prairie. Even if they have to go on to Edmonton, it does have to stop in Grand Prairie for stabilization and such. Our cancer center last year seen over 10,000 visits. And we have mental health services for geriatric, adult, and youth, as well as an intensive care unit and pediatric services. Over half of the admissions in 2024 were from outside of Grand Prairie. So where are we at? Where are we going? Our goal for this project, our capital goal is $12 million just to build the house. We've been gifted $4 million from the Rotary Clubs of Grand Prairie. And I mentioned that $2 million that was gifted from Ken Sargent, but that will be endowed, that has been endowed for operations. And then we are on our way to raise another $6 million. So at this time, we are going around to all the different municipalities within the Northwest region, as well as different businesses, individuals, and we are just asking, we would ask the town of Peace River to consider a gift to the project. We know that if we received $15 for every resident, we would easily reach our goal. We also know that that may not be a reality for everyone. So we are just asking that you do keep that into consideration. So what kind of impact will this, the Ken Sargent House have on patients and their support system? Well, we'll have reduced financial burden with the affordable accommodation, improved family well-being, enhanced patient recovery. We know that patients heal better when they're surrounded by their loved ones. Strengthened family connections. So an opportunity to create connections with others that are going through similar journeys. A sense of normalcy, convenience with its location by the hospital, an opportunity to continue to create positive memories, some joy and hope, even if it is at bedside, as well as an opportunity to strengthen not only our communities, but our entire region. So at this time, I'm just going to share a personal video of my own family's experience living in supportive accommodation. So I'm just going to press play for you here. Sort volume.
I don't know if there's volume on there.
Can we put it on the computer without it giving feedback?
I don't think. I'm gonna be lucky. Oops.
Bond, and I am a mother of three, a wife.
I don't know what I did.
Yeah, no, you stand off it.
Oh, I just turned it off.
Hospital. She was medevaced, went to complete cardiac and respiratory arrest, and was medevaced to Edmonton by transport team from the intensive care unit came and picked her up. When she finally arrived, we had a one of the transport team come out and meet us, just letting us know that she was very, very sick and that we likely would not recognize her when we went in the room. So she was placed on life support, and throughout the next week, they slowly turned it down, trying to get her off. The quicker they come off, the more likely they are to be successful later in life with lack of with less impact, I guess, negative impact. So within a week, she was on it for a week. She did come off life support successfully, and she was still on a very heavy breathing machine and oscillator. And the clinical nurse came out to see us in the waiting room at the hospital and just let us know, asked if the doctor had come, and we said, yeah, you know, we know they're cleaning her up and we're gonna make our way in there. And she looked at us and sat down and said, I'm so sorry, but she's gotten really sick again, so we're not sure what's happening, but the doctors are working on her. So on March 28th, 2011, she had multiple amputations. She's amputated on her right leg and mid femur, her left leg mid tibia, her right hand at the wrist, and her left hand has numerous stitches. So the next amputation surgery went well. She was complete champ, and a couple days later, we moved into supported accommodation, and she just continued to thrive and get better. And about a month after that, she was finally released from hospital, but had to spend another 4 months in Edmonton. We went in my mind, it was going to be a solemn and sad and filled with a lack of privacy. And then we walked in, and you felt this weight just leave your body. It was beyond what we could have even imagined. There was someone there that was always caring for you as the caregiver, just ensuring that your needs were being met. So having someone take care of our needs meant the world to us. It gave us an opportunity to thrive and be healthy so that we could go into the hospital and see our child and just understand and listen and be better and more ready for them. Okay, so we had our family together. It was an opportunity to experience a bit of normalcy in a journey that was far from normal. Well, the financial impact, as you can imagine, was quite large. Both my husband and I were in Edmonton, so neither of us were working. And so not only do we not have an income, but you still have all your bills at home. Like, life doesn't stop because you have a sick family member. So we still had to keep up with that, but then also a totally another life we had to fund, right? So it was quite astronomical. You've left your community, you've left your family, and you know they're there to support you, but it's hard to, and you feel that 100%, but you don't want to burden them with the reality of what you're going through, and it's hard to explain what you're going through. So you stay positive and share pieces of your journey with them, but no one truly understands that besides others who have gone through it. And I would say, you know, our community should support the development of the Ken Sargent House, as illness affects everyone. No one is immune to illness. Whether you've had a sick family member, whether you haven't, there's always someone who needs support. So you've probably known someone who has used supported accommodation. If you haven't, you probably will, or know someone who should have used it or needed it. So being able to support a family's journey, you're supporting the family's healing. And not only do you alleviate some of the emotional stress for that family, you're alleviating some of the financial burdens that they carry, but you're also supporting your community. And when you support your community, you're creating a culture of empathy and compassion, hope. You become the light for that person, for that family.
So I think we can all agree that really illness is a great equalizer. There's no amount of resources that make you immune or really protect you from that. And it can happen at any time to anyone. So with that, we are just hopeful that you will consider making a gift and supporting the build of the Ken Sargent House. And I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the Shell Rotary House here in Peace River?
No, but someone was telling me that at my last presentation.
Yeah, it started out very similar to what this Ken Sargent House seems to be, but it's evolved a little bit because of the circumstances in our community and stuff like that. But the layout, very similar idea.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's quite well used at this point in time. Ours, It's, the top floor was for medical people coming into town for short periods of time. And the bottom floor was to be for families such as you described.
Okay.
And we're finding that, not so many families have actually used it for who knows what reasons, but Grand Prairie, bigger hospital and, more lengthy stays probably as well.
Yeah, and I think the average in 2024 for out of town families was about 6.5 days. And I anticipate we will fill very quickly.
Yeah.
And just with, I'm gonna guess that our two highest demographics will be the cancer, people dealing with cancer treatment. And new moms having to be close to a hospital.
Yeah. Okay, counselors, questions? So if individuals wanted to donate as well, they would donate through the Grand Prairie Hospital Foundation? Yeah. Okay,
You bet.
okay. And you said that their shovels you started to dig today, was it, or?
We're going in, our sod turning is on Thursday at 2:00, so
Okay,
expect an invite if anyone's able to join us.
never know.
One quick question, how's your daughter?
She's great. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's just turned 15, so
Wow.
she's doing really good. Thank you.
Well, happy to hear that too. That's great. Well, thank you for your presentation and coming to tell us a bit, and we can spread the word as best we can as well, and hopefully the project gets the money it needs and carries on as quick as possible.
You bet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You.
Okay, our next item is bylaws, and we have bylaw number 2174, meeting procedures bylaw with Ms. Parsons.
Thank you, Mayor Mazur, and good evening, council. So not too much to update on this bylaw. It received first reading on May 12th, just the last meeting. And since then, just a couple tiny edits, just resulting from some conversation at the last meeting. So 5.7, just clarifying for the ex officio member that it's all council committees and any external boards and agencies where council's appointing members. And the other one, just on 15.5, just the clarification that if quorum is present, but the mayor and deputy mayor are not, that the CAO calls the meeting to order and then chair is selected by resolution. And then just clarifying that if the mayor and deputy mayor do arrive after the meeting has started, the chair has the ability to recess the meeting and then the mayor, deputy mayor would resume the role. They left that as a may clause as opposed to a must. Just to, if there's one item left operationally, it just might not make sense. So it didn't want to make it too strict there. But otherwise, everything else, just cleaning up any couple last minute typos that I might have noticed. And then I'm happy to take any questions.
I do have one. It has to do with 5.3 deputy mayor appointment. So say that there were 3 councillors and their last names were A, B, C. So does this mean that, first of all, every 4 months, so A, B, C, you do that, and then you go CBA? Is that what is meant by reverse order or something here?
Yeah, so just whatever order we went in, the alphabetical order we went in, then you would just, so someone will end up theoretically serving 8 months in a row as opposed to 4. What I found was when I had this before, then if you don't go in reverse order, you end up serving in the exact same time frame every year. And so sometimes that means you get the short end of the stick. So someone is only deputy mayor during the summer, when we only have 2 meetings. Things like that. So it just gives a bit of variety of when you serve.
Okay, and then another 8.3. Just wanted to clarify, 8.3, council must vote to adopt the agenda prior to so and so on. It says add new items to the agenda. So in the old procedural bylaw, it was sort of, I think it was stated someplace that it had to be sort of an emergent item in order to get added to the agenda. That is no longer the case here. Is that kind of correct?
Well, I feel like we have time, I mean, we have times where we do add things to the agenda, so yeah, I suppose, yes, I mean, there is another section where it does talk about adding things that are, more emergent, we could amend it to say add new items, and like potentially an explanation as to why it's being added, because we don't wanna just be flippant
No,
with it.
I'm okay with it. I just wanted to verify that.
Yeah, that it's not as strict, exactly, exactly.
Okay. Counselors, anything else? Counselor Good?
Yeah, just in 5.2, which is about the rotation of the deputy mayor. It says 5.2B, confirm the rotation schedule. Which I'm a little I have a little discomfort with the word confirm, because I mean, it sort of opens the door to not confirming it. And I'm wondering, it would be better to put a word in there that means initiate rather than confirm. Do you understand my thought on that? Because if I have to confirm it, I have the ability to not confirm it. If it's to initiate, it's initiated. I don't know that it matters. But
I guess that's at council's discretion. I don't necessarily feel concerned about it. It's
It's
so
kind of
it's
stating,
like,
just stating.
it's just stating it mostly. A reminder to everyone of the schedule, I suppose.
okay,
The schedule rotation is outlined in the bylaw, so it's more of just a reminder, that this is the upcoming rotation schedule. We
I
can
guess
certainly
the second
change
part,
it.
plan 3 initiates it by saying that's what will happen.
Mhm.
Okay,
Happy to change the
No,
wording if
I'm
the
fine
comfort
with
level
it.
isn't there.
Any other
good.
questions? Comments? Good. Anything further? So we're being, we've already passed first reading. And so now we could go into second and possibly third tonight if someone wants to move us that way. Councilor Good?
I'll move council gives second reading to bylaw number 2174, meeting procedures bylaw as amended.
Thank you. Everybody understands the motion and the meaning of it. Okay, all those in favor? Great. Someone consider deputy mayor, perhaps moving us along.
Do I have to say amended after this one too?
No.
Okay. I'll move that council give third reading to bylaw 2174, meeting procedure bylaw.
Thank you. Any further questions on that? Okay, all those in favor? Good. So I noticed in the bylaw, it says that this will be implemented once it's passed. So that means that our next meeting, we are using the new procedural bylaw. So, okay, good to know. Thank you. No, so next up, we have bylaw number 2175, the Economic Development Committee bylaw and EDC terms of reference with Ms. Modi.
Good evening, everyone. So bylaw 2175 has been presented to council Once before on April 7th, and twice it also has gone to the Economic Development Committee. Based on the discussion at the EDC and the direction from council, we have made a minor change to section 2 of the terms of reference. There's been no substantial changes to the bylaw that was presented to council in April. So the intent here is that we're clarifying the role of the committee, aligning the committee with the similar committees of council, such as the Community Services Board, and also reflecting the staff resources that we now have dedicated to economic development. So we have before council 2 options to provide first, second, and third reading of bylaw 2175 and approve the updated Economic Development Committee terms of reference as presented. This would be consistent with the requirements of the MGA. It clarifies the role of the EDC, aligns the role of the EDC with similar committees of council, and reflects our new staff resources. Alternatively, council could provide first reading of the bylaw and provide direction with respect to desired changes to the bylaw and the terms of reference. So it is our recommendation that council provide the 3 readings to the bylaw this evening and approve the Economic Development Committee terms of reference.
Thank you. Any questions? So the Economic Development Committee has had several looks at this probably and so on, so did we at this. Okay, any questions of clarity? Okay, would someone like to make a motion? Okay, Councilor Ford.
Thank you, worship. I put a motion on the floor that council give first reading to bylaw number 2175. Economic Development Committee bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Everybody's clear on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? It is carried. Thank you. Would someone care to move us along to the second reading, Deputy Mayor?
I'll propose that council give second reading to bylaw 2175 Economic Development Committee bylaws.
Thank you. Again, any further discussion? Okay, then, everybody's clear on the motion and all those in favor? Great, it is carried. Someone care to move us along further? Councilor Good?
I'll move the council place bylaw number 2175 for 3rd reading.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that one?
Oh, man.
All those in favor?
That's good.
That's great. Okay, someone want to make another motion on this matter?
Thank you, your worship. I'll put a motion on the floor that council give third reading to bylaw number 2175 at Economic Development Committee bylaw.
Thank you. Any further questions on this? Everybody's clear on the meaning of this motion? All those in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Okay, now there's another proposed motion with respect to terms of reference. Do you want to say anything about the terms of reference before we get there?
I don't have anything additional to add. The only big changes to the document that council has already seen were in the terms of reference.
Okay, so would someone like to, Councilor Good?
I'll move the council approve the updated Economic Development Committee terms of reference as presented.
Thank you. Are there any further questions on this one? Everybody's clear on the motion? All those in favor? Great. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Modi, and the rest of your staff for getting us here. And now you're going to tell us about proposed changes to the business grant program policy.
Yes, we've been operating the business grant program for a few years now. We're in year 3. We have received an application that is inconsistent with the policy as written because the application is for a second portion of a building that's already received a grant. The policy as written requires that no application for a similar project can occur at the same civic address within 5 years of the application date. So as of today, that application is not eligible. However, this is a building that does have multiple units in it, and it is a similar project, but for a different section of the building. And we do have many buildings in town where there are multiple units within a single building that only has one civic address assigned to it. So we would we propose to allow those units that are separate units to apply for a similar project within that time span. With a theory that that would still be in line with the intent of the overall program itself. So it's a single change to the policy. We are working through some other potential changes to the policy. Taking that to the EDC and I'll bring that to council for some feedback, but this is just one singular change that would affect existing or a current application that's part of intake 2, but would also then be integrated into the policy so that it applies going forward as we move the program forward.
So if it's in the circumstance where there's, say, one owner and he's got 2 businesses in the same building, he would still be able to apply for two separate grants.
Essentially, yes. A lot of the times the application is coming from the individual businesses and the building owner is signing off on that application.
Yeah.
But another alternate option would be that owner could say, this worked here on this side for this unit and we want to do it again on this other location.
Good. Any questions for this one? Well, very smoothly here tonight. Okay, would someone like to propose a motion on this matter? Councilor Good?
I'll move that council approve the changes to the business grant program policy as presented.
Thank you. Councilors, any further questions on this one? Okay, everybody's clear on the motion. All those in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Moody. And you're now going to talk to us about a business grant program funding request.
Yes, so every year we have been allocating $50,000 to the business grant program. In 2025, we had an intake 1 that was for over $30,000 of that funding. We have received a further 6 applications for intake 2, and we, in theory, would have an intake 3 in 2025 if there's any funds left over. By contrast, in 2024, which was our second year in operation, the grant program was undersubscribed and the budget was not fully awarded. So we've brought forward this RFD to council to ask council is willing to transfer an amount equivalent to that which was not dispersed in the 2024 budget, which is now within our operating reserve, into the 2025 program, which would provide us approximately $41,450 for intakes 2 and 3 of this year. By recommitting the funds to the business grant program, we would be maximizing the financial resources that are available to the local business community, allowing more businesses to reinvest in their properties and contribute to our economic development in the community. So we have 3 options for council here. One is to transfer the essentially equivalent amount from the operating reserve to the 2025 business grant program. The second would be to status quo, to maintain the budget that we have today, which was $50,000, 30,000 and change, which has been expended or allocated, or alternately to approve off a different amount from the operating reserve as determined by council. So obviously there's a financial implication if we do proceed with transferring some money. That amount is coming out of our operating reserve. So the disadvantage here is we are lowering our operating reserve. It may set a precedent for future years where an over subscription occurs. But it does allow more applicants to receive funding and increases our overall contribution to the town's growth. If we maintain the status quo, there may be some viewed negatively by some of the underfunded applicants or unfunded, depending on the numbers that we receive. So it's our recommendation that council approve a transfer equivalent to that 2024 operating amount, $21,875 from operating reserves to the 2025 business grant program.
Okay, so in essence, then the business grant program would have 71,000 for this year.
Yes.
And that's the reasonable question. There was no other places within that economic development budget that could be cut to accommodate this.
We don't have we may have additional spots within the ACTEV budget. There aren't many. The majority of our budget is tied up in human resources related. We do have some operational money in 2025 that for marketing and things along those lines, but it's limited.
No, I have to ask the question just because. Any counselors, any further questions on this one? So, I guess my other little concern would be that, if we do it for this group, then there could be another group, similar grant structure of some sort that might also end up asking for further funds if they had a large subscription to whatever kind of grant it was. Just saying, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying. So anyways, any other questions, counselors? Someone like to make a motion on this one? Okay, Counselor Good.
I'll move the council approve the transfer of $21,875 from operating reserve for the 2025 business grant program.
Thank you. Everybody's clear on the motion and its intent? Okay, all of those in favor? Great, it is carried. Thank you, Ms. Modi. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have guest services representative permanent position at Baytex Energy Center, and Ms. Bell is gonna lead us through this one.
Great. Thank you, Your Worship. This report before you this evening would have been presented with the other reports at the last meeting, but unfortunately I was unwell and not able to provide the report in time for the agenda. So it's been placed on this evening's agenda for your consideration. I'm not sure council would remember, this was quite some time ago when we had our budget workshop, August or September, maybe it was September, I believe. I did present in the 2025 operating budget proposal for a development or a reclassification of casual hours for permanency in the guest services representative positions at the Baytex Energy Center. These positions currently are filled through casual individuals, typically young individuals. We have upwards of anywhere from 8 to 12 individual staff filling over 3,000 casual hours as part of the operational model, both evenings and weekends. What we have been experiencing over the last, not just the last year, probably fully honestly over the last 3 years, is a lot of challenges around inconsistent customer service that's offered. You have a high rate of turnover of these young adults. They're not readily available. They're high achieving individuals on sports teams, so they're only able to do a shift a week if we're lucky. So it's very difficult to keep these individuals up to speed on every change and the amount of information that they would need on a regular basis. So we're running into some challenges like no other, like in many other businesses, within the community have this similar challenge of high turnover, this type of model of having young adults in these evening and weekend shifts. We are noticing another significant risk to us is the an inconsistent or inability to have one or two of the individuals available during the day for formal backup for our recreation services coordinator. That's become a little bit more of an issue over the last year and a half. We had a person who was also doing some post-secondary online work, so she was available to us during the day when she was our main full-time staff was unavailable, went on vacation, that type of thing. So we are predominantly backup is high school students, and they are not available by means of their other job being school. They are not available for backup. So we are running into a lot of issues with backup for that critical position. So we are proposing, as we proposed in the budget workshop, to reclassify casual hours to permanency. We have included the cost of the burden, as some call it, the benefits of the employee that are added in the budget already in the 2025 operating budget, which has been approved by council. We've also included the wages, the associated wages and the hours. So there is no ask this evening for additional funds. Those funds have already been budgeted for within the operating budget and approved. This ask before you this evening is the reclassification for the permanent position. We provide an organizational full needs analysis to back up the request as per the organizational staffing policy. And I can answer any questions that you have around that section of my report this evening. Otherwise, I present you with two options, one to approve the reclassification to permanency, and the other option being to just accept this report for information, therefore meaning no change is made to the organizational structure.
Thank you. So this position is at the Baytex.
Correct. They would be underneath the Recreation Services Coordinator, who in turn is supervised by the Manager of Recreation and Parks.
Okay, councillors, questions, clarity? Councillor Ford?
Not a question, but I move that council approve the creation of one full-time permanent guest services representative under the Community Services Department.
Thank you. So councillors, any further discussion? Okay, everybody understands the motion in this meeting. All those in favor? Great, it is carried. Well, thank you, Ms. Bell, for that. Whoops.
Thank you.
Very simple there. And now you're going to tell us about the joint use and planning agreement with the school divisions.
Correct. Council, we've reviewed this particular proposed, updated and revised version of the joint use and planning agreement at a previous governance and priorities meeting. I believe it was in March. Yes, the March 3rd governance priorities meeting. There has not been any substantive changes since that review. We have provided all parties with a copy of the draft agreement as it sits. So far, we have one school division has provided back their formal motion of their Board of Trustees in support of the agreement. Just a reminder, this joint use and planning agreement is slightly different than the previous joint use agreement that the town had in place with the 3 school divisions in the community. This is the operating document or agreement that provides direction to the town and the school divisions on how recreational sites and town-owned properties can be and would be used by schools, and reciprocal, how the town could utilize school properties and school facilities for community use or town use. In addition, this new portion of the agreement outlines how planning and development will be addressed around school developments in the community, and how the town will be involved in the servicing and property transfer of those potential new school sites in the future. We did receive one minor piece of feedback that I'd like to bring to council's attention, because it would be a change in wording previous to what you had seen at the March meeting, and solicit your feedback of whether council is agreeable to this change, and if whether or not the change still captures the intent of the statement. So the feedback was specifically around a statement made in page 25. The intent was to identify the capital improvements specifically at the sports fields. In the history of those sports fields is the fact that it was our community groups that came to the town and the school divisions to have said sites upgraded. Actually, and a lot of that site upgrade was at the cost or the fundraising efforts of those nonprofit organizations. The schools and the town did not put in the bulk of the funding. We supported in all sorts of ways at the time. So there was a statement that was made to identify a bit of that history, but also to acknowledge that the town, though we operate these sports fields, may not want to be the sole provider of any major redevelopment. And redevelopment in definition in the agreement is a complete reworking of the site. So regrading or resodding of a site, it's a major redevelopment. It's not just a maintenance activity. And those can be extremely costly depending on what type of redevelopment happens. So administration wanted to identify that in the future, any future redevelopments, it should not be borne solely by the town of Peace River. Now, in turn, the school divisions are also saying they don't want the statement to be identified as solely the responsibility of the school division either, which is absolutely fair and was not the intent of the original statement. So administration is proposing a new rewording of that line, as noted in the RFD on page 2. The proposed new wording is the development of the sports fields was a partnership with community organizations, the town and school divisions. Redevelopment of a sports field should be considered as a partnership in the future. And if council is agreeable to that statement, we propose to that the town authorize entering into this joint use and planning agreement as presented this evening.
Okay, major document. The last one lasted several years, even though this changed, did it?
Correct.
Okay, oh, oops,
Sorry.
yep, I do that too. So anyways, counselors, any questions on this, in particular, the statement that Ms. Bell has brought to her attention?
Makes sense.
Okay, then. Well, we did have a look at it previously, so anybody willing to move us forward on this one?
I did the last one.
Deputy Mayor?
Hang on, I'm just finding it.
Hmm?
It's on the other page. I'm in the wrong meeting.
We're
Oh.
rotating between 3 people.
Yeah, I'll move that council authorize the town to enter into the joint use and planning agreement with the school division partners.
Thank you. Counselors, any further questions over here? Okay, we're clear on the motion. All those in favor? It is carried. Thank you, Mrs. Bell, for all
Thank you.
that. And now we're gonna have Ms. Parsons, and she's gonna talk about the change meeting dates and extension for mandatory training.
Thank you, Mayor Manzer. Again, council. So when we had our organizational meeting and we set our council meeting dates for the coming year, we missed the change under Bill 20 to the MGA, where now training for council, not only is it mandatory for us to provide the training, which was the change previously, but now it's also mandatory that council attend this training. And there's 2 different sets of training that is mandatory, under 201.1 section A and B. So for the first one under A, it has to be held prior to or on the same day as the first organizational meeting. And then the second set, it has to be held prior to or on the same day as the first regularly scheduled council meeting. Unfortunately, those timelines do not quite add up with what we have scheduled. So we have joint orientation scheduled with Northern Sunrise County on October 29th. And then we don't have the second set of training scheduled yet. However, I don't foresee us being able to get through all of the training before the very first scheduled meeting. So our recommendation is to move the organizational meeting to the Monday, November 3rd, and cancel the first scheduled meeting that's on the October 27th. And then also to extend the time for the orientation training that's under 201.1 sub B by 90 days. So this just allows us a little bit more time to provide that training. As well as aligns this first set of training and the organizational meeting date to be within the MGA guidelines. I can take any questions.
So 201.11, section 4, municipalities code of conduct, that's coming out as well, or for reinstituting it now?
I guessing that Bill 50 either made an amendment to take that out or they just assume it as struck since code of conducts are now non-existent. But yes, good question.
Okay, so everybody understands the issue? So a new council would be expected to take some training and have it done before, or some of it, at least before the November 3rd organizational meeting. And then 90 days to do it, really. Some
So
of it.
So the first section on October 29, we'll have our first set of training, which covers 201.1 sub 1 sub A. So that will cover that section of training. So that will be held prior to the organizational meeting if we move it to November 3rd, which still aligns with the timeline under the MGA to have the organizational meeting held 14 days past the third Monday in October. So that will align with that. And then the rest of the training will have to take place, which is under B, will have to take place within those 90 days. So, and likely broken up, maybe like one overall and then kind of broken up over time. We'll plan that a little more as we get closer to. But it's a lot of training to get in before the very first regular meeting. That's a lot of information to absorb for a new council. It's a lot of information for us to distribute. So just giving that little bit of extra time to be able to provide that training.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions on Ms. Parsons' presentation? Okay, would someone like to move us along again? Councillor Goods.
I'll move the council the first regular council meeting scheduled October 27th, 2025. I move the organizational meeting to Monday, November 3rd, 2025, prior to the regular GNP meeting scheduled for that day.
Thank you. Okay, any questions on that motion? And its intent? Okay, all those in favor? Great, it is carried. Okay, and there was a second motion that we are asked to consider as well.
Thank you, Your Worship. I put a motion on the floor that council extends the time for orientation training under subsection 201.1 bracket 1 bracket B of the MGA by 90 days.
Thank you. Everyone is aware of the intent of that motion. Okay, all those in favor? Great, it is carried. Okay, moving along, we're now at the piece gotta get the right one here. The RPAC, the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction Retention Committee Member at Large appointment. And Ms. Miller?
Thank you, Your Worship. So the request for decision before you is seeking appointment of a member, Crystal Owens. Ms. Owens has put an application in to sit on the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction and Retention Committee as a member at large. It was discussed by the members of the board who made a recommendation that council accept that application and make formal appointment to the committee for a term of 3 years.
Thank you. Any questions on this one? Someone care to move us forward with the motion? Deputy Mayor?
I'd like to put the motion forward to Am I here? Let's just wait here. The council appoints Crystal Owens to the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction and Retention Committee for a 3-year term.
Thank you. Everybody's aware of the motion, all those in favor? Great, it is carried. Thank you. Number 7 on the agenda, the RPAP 2026 conference bid, Ms. Spiller and myself.
Thank you again, your worship. So this request for decision before council is in consideration of approving an application to be submitted to our RPAP organization provincially to host the biannual conference for that organization. So the rural health professionals, they have a conference every 2 years. The cost and the general organization of the conference is the responsibility of the RPAP. However, in order to put an application, the town does need to commit 3 to 4 community representatives that will be all in and participate with the planning and the organizing and making sure that they participate in the bi-monthly meetings. And just generally the contact to make sure everything runs smoothly here. So it is a great opportunity, but there is a little bit of concern in that it is an election year. Some who have committed may or may not be elected officials who may or may not be still standing on the next term. There are some deadlines here. My understanding is the committee has, and Mayor Manzer can speak further to this, but my understanding is the committee has committed some members to take on this challenge. There are some important dates here. September 19th is the deadline for the submission. My understanding is our local group is going to prepare everything. But it does require a motion of council because it is on the municipality at the end of the day to ensure that we're all prepared if we are fortunate enough to be selected.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. This is a conference that's held every 2 years. The last one was in Wainwright. Some of the committee members from our committee did go, as well as committee members from Grimshaw's committee and also Donnelly McLennan's committee. And the agreement amongst those that all went was this would be a good thing if we could try and host it up in our area. And they're willing to sit on the committee to help organize sort of thing as well. So it would be a good thing for our area, about 200 people. So the hotels and so on would kind of like that. And it also gives us an opportunity to show off our area and talk up our medical community and that sort of thing. So we're asking that the council would move to approve the bid for the 2026 conference. There we go. So that's what the ask is. Any questions on me? And RPAP provincially pays for it all, except for some swag. Well, we can't get a better deal on that one, actually. Swag in time, I guess, a little bit of time. So anyways, would someone be prepared to put forth a motion to direct the town to submit a bid to host the 2026 RPAP biennial conference?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Ford. Any further questions on that one? All those in favor? Great. The committee thanks you. Or will thank you. Okay, next up, reports. The first one we have is the Spring 2025 Peace Regional Mental Health Task Force. Deputy Mayor Boychuk. Wish to speak on this one?
Sure, that was just a publication that we put out, a communication item that we just wanted to release from the task force, especially about what was going on in our community and stuff like that. So I can answer any questions. We just mostly wanted to put some data down and then kind of what was going on.
Well, I like the format with the Mythbusters kind of thing. And the kind of the information about what several service organizations can do and do in the community. But other questions? So thank you for that, and we'll look forward to another report in the near future.
We've already got it out. We just got to approve it at this Thursday's meeting, so we should have it out.
Great. Well, it was great that you guys hosted that meeting last Thursday. It was good conversations. Okay, the next one is the Peace Regional Energy Committee meeting. And I sit on this one, as does Councillor Shannon, and CAO Miller as well attends. This was a meeting way back in April, so this group does not publish their minutes until they are approved, so they're kind of behind the thing. This was when the Energy Alberta was had just submitted their initial project description, and IAC was in the process of its timelines. So if you remember last meeting, we also approved writing a letter to IAC to talk about the impacts of this possible nuclear project in our area. Does anyone have any questions on that set of minutes? Okay, next up, we have the Peace River Aboriginal Interagency Committee draft minutes, and this one, Mr. Boychuk attended in my place. Mr. Boychuk, basically business as usual with respect to planning for powwow and various other things, but.
Yeah, we have powwow next month, so
Yeah.
that's probably the one thing to highlight.
The first full weekend of June. Okay. Anything, any other questions on those reports? Someone would like to move the council accept reports 9.1 through 9.3 for information. Councillor Good so moves. All those in favor? Great, it is carried. Okay, and then we have the May 9th communication package. And is there anything someone wanted to bring forth there? Okay, well, I will mention that our letter about the boundaries, the Alberta electoral boundaries is in here, I think. And information from Sagatawa about their shelter closure, also information about the powwow. And our letter to Northern Sunrise, thanking them for their allocation to the hot tub replacement project. So we're moving right along here, this meeting. Maybe it's because there's only 4 of us here, I don't know. But anyways, would someone like to move the council accept item 10.1 for information? Deputy Mayor so moves. All those in favor? Okay, notice the motion.
I have none, your worship.
Okay, comments from the public? We don't have any at this point. Key communication items. Okay, councillors, what would you like highlighted from this meeting?
And Sergeant House.
And Sergeant House, okay,
The business grant policy changes, the addition of the dollars,
okay,
the increase in the conversion to a full-time position at Baytex, I think is going to be very, very good for service there.
okay,
The RPAP conference,
great.
bid.
And also Crystal Owens being appointed.
Great. School divisions, the joint use planning one, and I guess bylaws, we have the procedural bylaw, third reading, and third reading of the economic development committee's bylaw, as well as terms of reference. That's about the whole agenda, I think. Right. Okay, so we've got that. Do we need a quick 5-minute break before we go into closed?
Sure.
Yes, okay, so we're gonna